TYT Sports, everybody. Ben, Drew Carter, JR Jackson. So the game of the week yesterday, I guess that was Seattle and Denver, but the most exciting game, at least from an offensive point of view, was Philadelphia and Washington, and DeSean Jackson's return to Philadelphia, and I guess an eagerness to prove that he wasn't just a product of the Chip Kelly system, that he could play. And what do you know, Drew Cousins throws for 427 yards, and Jackson hauls in a very DeSean Jackson-like 81-yard touchdown. He does the little eagle dance. And he was mixing it up with the, he'd circled this game. But there's one play here that shows you, I think, A, what's wrong with DeSean Jackson, but mostly what's wrong with refereeing sometimes in the NFL, how frustrating it is. So watch this play, and then we'll tell you what happened. All right, now, I saw 3 penalties on that play, right? They only called 1 penalty. The only penalty they called was on Nate Allen of the Eagles for the second shove. So DeSean Jackson catches that little curl, right? He takes a late hit from Malcom, an unquestioned late hit. Malcom Jenkins leading with his forearm to the head. Run it one more time. You'll see him make the catch, and then Malcom Jenkins is the guy who will hit DeSean Jackson.
He's down.
Right there. That's a penalty. Then he shoves him. That's a penalty. And then the retribution is the only thing that gets penalized.
The retaliation is always the one that gets taught. That's the thing. It's always the one that gets the retaliation. Never the guy that pushes, it's the guy that pushes back.
It's just crazy that ended up being just a penalty. It ended up probably, in a sense, maybe it was the right thing, because maybe the only thing that should have been called was the late hit. Yeah, and then you let the pushes go. But then the referees seemed like they thought they made a mistake, because on the next play they called a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on Pierre Garçon, and Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were like, I think they just wanted to get it.
That's like the NBA refs, the makeup call. You're like, how is he? That's not a travel. They're like, oh, they had a bad call down there.
We knew what happened. The most frustrating thing is the offsetting penalties when guys are doing that. Like, if you see everyone's fighting, how about just don't throw a flag if you're going to throw a bunch of offsetting penalties? Because something started, call that, as we said, and leave it at that. And I think that's what we were trying to do with the second point. But do we not expect DeSean Jackson to jump up and not push him in the face? We just talked about how Drew got slung around in practice, and the first thought in midair is, who am I going to fuck up? Of course, this is human nature.
Maybe it's okay that the referees would have one shove, they come in and they're like, hey, right. And then if anything happens after that, you penalize it. But they get in and they slow. I don't.
Emotion gets a hold of you, but like you said, like that fine, like that unwritten rule of etiquette, like, come on, man. Like if somebody hits you, like you're like, oh, we're gonna have to fight. I'm sorry.
Who cares what I'm saying to you?
I'm gonna let you know how I feel. I'm gonna push you or something, because there's certain rules that guys know you shouldn't be doing.
That's the flip side, is if you're DeSean Jackson and you sort of behave the way you do and talk about it, what do you think? I mean, he's not going to. You got to expect it.
You got to expect it. Yeah.
And also, let's also remember, I think it was even, I don't know who was leaked by, or they were insinuating as DeSean Jackson was headed out of town. It was, oh, he has this affiliation with gang members. He's a gangbanger. That's trying to destroy someone's career now. So, I mean, I get the anger and wanting to come back and not even retaliate with fights, but retaliate with a good performance in that game. They were slinging him through the mud through that change.
I mean, no one hates Dan Snyder more than I do, but I like that he signed DeSean Jackson. That's one thing I like about him.